I always enjoy your testimony. When I look for a common thread running throughout your testimony, and I look at your agency's behavior, one of the common threads I see is that, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on this, is that in your judgment, some companies in America are making too much money. Now, when you analyze their financial statements, do you not?
Sure.
Do you distinguish between revenue and earnings when you analyze a financial statement?
Well, sure. We look at all things, and I would say that we
What's
don't think of too much
the difference between
money.
revenue and earnings?
Well, these are all used colloquially. Sometimes those are similar. In GAAP accounting, which is what most U.S. companies use.
Don't tell me about GAAP. Just tell me your understanding of the difference between revenue and earnings.
Well, I can share with you revenue and net income. So those are the two factors that when you say are on financial statements.
Earnings is another word for net income.
Well, earnings can be used for many different things, but in generally accepted accounting principles, net income is what all of our banks are really using.
Okay.
Welcome back to Hot News Today. Today we're diving into a fiery Capitol Hill exchange that's got the financial world buzzing. Senator John Kennedy grilled CFPB Director Rohit Chopra, and things got heated. Stay tuned to see how it all wraps up. Let's get into it. Senator Kennedy came in hot, not holding back at all. He implied the CFPB thinks some American companies make too much money. Kennedy pressed Chopra on the difference between revenue and earnings. That's vintage Kennedy, unless you were playing Frisbee during econ class. Here's where things get spicy. Kennedy points to the law that says the CFPB should be funded by the Federal Reserve's earnings. But since 2022, the Fed's been running at a loss. So if there are no earnings, how is the CFPB still getting money? Kennedy calls it illegal.
Now, for the longest time, the Federal Reserve was earning money, but that stopped in, September of 2022? Now, they are losing money. They don't have any earnings. They're no longer transferring earnings to the general fund. And the Supreme Court based its decision on saying that this funding scheme is constitutional under the Appropriations Clause by saying that these earnings would go to the general fund from the Federal Reserve, so getting them directly from the general fund is no big deal. How are you entitled to any money right now? The Federal Reserve doesn't have any earnings.
Well, we've heard of this theory. I think it's one of the latest
ones. It's not a theory. It's a congressional
Well,
statute.
I think there's you raised the difference between revenue and net income. There are other places throughout our laws. I can tell you we've looked at this issue. We do believe wholeheartedly everyone is complying with the statute.
I know you believe that, but if you look at
I'm aware with what you said, revenue and net income.
If I could just finish my question.
Sure.
If you read the opinion, and I did, and you read the statute, it says here, bigger than Dallas, you can only get your money from the Federal Reserve out of earnings. Now, the Federal Reserve has not had any earnings since September of 2022. Isn't that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Sure, it's
from
correct.
a net income perspective,
all you have to do is go.
But they've generated lots of fees
OMB.
and income.
If you want real, no-fluff breakdowns of Washington's biggest financial debates, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. All right, back to the fireworks. Kennedy pivots to free speech and censorship. He calls out PayPal and Chase Bank, saying the CFPB is upset about silencing customers and using their data for ads.
Tell me why you're mad at Chase Bank.
You're not that sorry, Senator Kennedy, but go ahead.
You're mad at PayPal and Chase Bank. Can you tell me real quickly before Sharon cuts me off why you're mad
I
now
think
at PayPal and Chase Bank?
The concern is that we have seen an incident at PayPal where there was an attempt to censor people based on their speech. We've also seen that those companies are now going to be offering reportedly advertising based on your individual transaction data. I feel some of this is something we all need to figure out together.
Are you going to punish every company that has censored people's speech?
No, I do think...
I applaud that part.
Oh, I think censorship is a big problem.
Senator Kennedy,
do you have to approve the speech first?
No, I think we should. I think we're on the same page.
I'm over. I'm sorry. Thanks for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman.
The hearing ends with humor, or maybe sarcasm. Senator Warner jokes about sending Kennedy a fruit basket to ease the tension. Even in heated debates, there's always room for a little Senate sass.
You're not sorry, and I wasn't indulging you, but thank you, Senator Kennedy. Senator Warner,
Well, I'm sorry as I could be. I will send you later
Senator
a
Warner, Virginia.
fruit basket to make up for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I was about to say all kinds of nice things about Senator Kennedy.
This hearing was about more than accounting. It was about government transparency, legal authority, and personal freedom. How our data is used, and if free speech is protected in the digital age. Let me know your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.